This is Jam Nation
with Jonesy and Amanda.
Our next guest is one of Australia's funniest comedians, and she's one of our favourite people. In 2020, she released Overwhelmed and Dying, a podcast. That's an unusual title for a comedian. Well, now she's back with the sequel, Overwhelmed and Living, which sounds more promising. Judith Lucy, hello.
Hello. Delightful to be here. And, you know what? I want Overwhelmed and Living to sound optimistic, and yet it's about climate change. And so I know already people are going, that's going to be hilarious.
But if I know you've made it funny.
Well, I've certainly tried to do that, Amanda. I talk a lot about my own idiocy when it comes to climate change, and then I go off and I do things like, try and live in a tiny house with my new partner, which was quite confronting. I don't know if you've spent much time in a tiny house.
I can't do it. The thought of it, I'm a hoarder. I couldn't do it.
Well, you have to make yourself the size of a weevil, obviously, which makes the whole thing very difficult. But we'd never gone away together. And so I'm sort of trying to dress it up as this is going to be quite romantic, while at the same time thinking we're going to be living in something the size of a coffin, and it involves a drop toilet. But somehow, actually, I want to say we made it work, but did we? In fact, I was meant to stay there for 3 nights. And after 2, I said, we've got to go home because, frankly, he snored me out.
And
yeah.
Wow, a new relationship in a tiny house.
Yeah.
But we're still together.
Oh,
But
good.
look, it's. I mean, of course, because as we all know, I exploit every single part of my private life. So there's a fair bit of that in the show. But we also interview a lot of amazing people, and you know what? It's kind of an entertaining take and gives you lots of advice about stuff you can do as an individual and in your area. And if you want to, look, I went on an Extinction Rebellion protest. I got out there.
Right.
Who are those people?
Extinction Rebellion.
Yes, which ones are they?
The rebelling against extinction.
But I mean, which are they, nutbags or good people?
Well, I'm going to say to you that there are nutbags and good people wherever you turn.
Yeah.
But which ones in particular are these? I've heard the name, and I think I've seen the
they're
protest.
climate change activists.
Activists against
Yes, they are.
the activists for climate change.
Yeah. No, there's not activists against climate
But
change.
these aren't the people who are against vaccines and stuff, are they?
No, good. Would I go and do an anti-vax?
Well, that's what I was
thing,
wondering,
Amanda?
whether you'd gone into an enemy camp.
Heaven's sakes. No, they just, they do all sorts of different kinds of protesting. And the protesting I went on was, they're called the Civils of Disobedience. And we dressed up in these amazing costumes, and we hung outside the NGV in Melbourne, and we did a lot of sort of slow Tai Chi movements while wearing signs that said, stop native logging,
Right.
native forest logging. Yeah, anyway, look, it was fascinating, and a lot of people looked at me like I was completely out of my mind. But you know what? The crazy thing was, at the end of it, I felt better.
That's what it is. There's a world view about it, but you can only, there's more things you can do, but starting with your own life, it's like people who go to the football and call out, "Go Bombers," about that loud. And it doesn't matter. That's how you're expressing yourself, and you're taking part in a bigger story.
Well, I think the takeaway is, if you're feeling freaked out about climate change, just do something, because action is a great way of dealing with anxiety. So we kind of deal with everything. Like, I've got Simon Toohey, who is a fantastic Master Chef grand finalist. He comes to my place and, cooks some great vegetarian food. I go and plant some shrubs in my local bay area to do a bit of revegetating. It's all happening. There's something for everyone. And of course, on a much more personal level, during lockdown, from the neck down, I let all my body hair go. And, it was a jungle, Amanda. It was like the Amazon rainforest. So I was actually storing carbon. I was doing my bit for the environment right there. It was actually terrifying. Honestly, if you'd seen my armpits, I tell you what, if I'd stuck a beanie and a couple of googly eyes down there, you would have thought I was holding a couple of bearded hipsters hostage. But anyway, it was a trying time.
So with your new romantic partner, though, is he into this?
Into what? Body hair? You bet he is. He's a gorilla. I'm actually going out with a. No, look. You know what? I'm not going to talk about him.
Oh, come on.
I think what Jonesy wants to know is, does he mind that you have body hair?
Does he mind that you're hairy?
Well, but of course he doesn't, because he's 59.
And he's in love with you. And he's in love with you.
And I feel like Gen X, we were a hairier generation.
Sure,
you know,
definitely.
I mean, I've never understood. Look, I'm just going to say that I asked a young woman only the other day. I said, you know, of course she gets rid of it all downstairs. And I said, but why do you get rid of it all? And she said, because it gets in the way. And look, I don't know about you, but I've never been in the middle of having sex and had to yell out or heard them yell out. I just can't get through.
No. Look at the history of evolution. Everyone's always got through.
What's she running a lathe down there?
I don't know. So I've always, you know what, in an ideal world, I would like my downstairs to be a bit like a Stevie Nicks clip, you know, just sort of mood lighting and shawls. I'm all for a bit of mystery down there.
Don't light the candles.
No
for
candles.
God's
No
sake.
candles. Flammable. Well, Judith, it's always great to talk to you. Judith Lucy, Overwhelmed and Living, the podcast. Download now on your favourite podcast app. And I just like the idea of you being a weevil living in an Uncle Toby's box. That's such a simple life.
It could be the way my career is heading, Jonesy. That could be me sooner rather than later. I could just be a weevil living in a box. That's the takeaway from this interview, everyone. I'm a weevil living in a box.
And the title of your new show, I'm sure.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Lovely to see you.
I'll take my hairy body and get out of here.
I can hear it rustling from here.